Hi, I'm Roxy Rose, and this is the Lily Lackich studio. And Lily's actually the one holding the camera, and she's been gracious enough to let us use her studio for a little demonstration. So come on with me to the back of the shop, and we'll do a little neon demonstration. But meanwhile, we get to pass through this beautiful gallery. I'm here almost every day, but I'm still so impressed with it. It's so nice to be able to work around this type of beautiful work. So right now we're preparing for the next neon workshop. So as you can see, we have the table set up here because that's where everybody will be doing their individual work. And back here is the neon bending shop. We have stations for 3 different benders. And here we are in the neon shop. And what I wanted to show you is this interesting piece here. It's a pedestrian walk and don't walk sign. Well, if you don't know me, I started bending neon in 1978. My grandfather started a neon fabrication company in 1946. And at the time, well, shortly after that, neon pedestrian signs came into full swing. And my grandfather was making walk and don't walk signs, as well as some other modular pieces for the neon pedestrian signs. And during that period, the 50s and 60s, primarily all our work in that shop was walk and don't walk signs. And in 1978, when I started working, like I said, primarily we were doing walks and don't walks. They were kind of phasing out by then, but there was still a lot to do. So I cut my teeth, my glass blowing teeth, on walk and don't walk signs. And so when I learned, those were the first things I learned. And it wasn't like, here, you know, do a walk, do a don't walk. It was do 100 walks, or do 200, green walks, or 200 red walks. There was just so much walk and don't walk work to do. We all had to do it. Now I want to show you this. I have a sample here. So you can see, this is the don't walk, the neon don't walk. Now what's interesting about this piece is that on the bottom section, there are actually 2 walks. And the green walk that you see now is behind the clear red walk. And that's how these systems worked. Now, we were a production shop, so we had to bend very fast. And what I want to show you today is a little demonstration of how this is basically what the walk looked like. They were all made flat so that the green walk could be sandwiched behind it. And they were made in this way so there was no drops or raises, but they were painted out in these areas that you didn't want to see. And like I said, they're very much flat, and it's kind of an interesting design that they have to them. And we would have to make these all day long. So in order to produce at a very fast rate, we had to work on 2 different patterns. And if you could see here, I have on my bench 2 different patterns. I already have a couple of bends thrown in that. And what I want to demonstrate to you is working off the 2 patterns. So let me light these fires. So make money and get the job done in a timely way, or a timely manner, we had to work really fast. Like I said, that meant we had to work on 2 patterns at the same time, because the reason for that is because we wanted to avoid the time it took for the glass to cool down, so you didn't have to wait for the glass to cool down. So, as you can see, as that one's cooling down, I'm back on this one on the other pattern and working on this one. And we had to do this all day long. We had about 5 to 10 different glass blowers all working on these at the same time, and we were a bit competitive. So we always challenged each other to a race. And, well, oftentimes I won. But, so like I said, and this is, what I'm doing here, working off 2 patterns and going really fast. It's not just for show. In fact, when I was younger, I'd moved a lot faster. And I can't remember exactly how much time it took for each walk to be made. I can't remember that figure because it's been a long time since I made these. And we made them pretty damn fast. My dad usually made about 200 walks per week. So that's about 40 walks per day. And the only reason why he didn't make more of those is because there were other things to do. So in the course of 10 years, my dad had made over 100,000 walk or don't walk signs. Now some of these were grids, some of them were red walks, some of them were green walks or white walks. And then there were special color walks and don't walks for different cities. Some had their certain specifications, like I remember we did a lot for Portland orange. It was a color that the city of Portland had come up with that they felt in their somewhat foggy climate showed best. And as I said, my dad, over 10 years, he made about 100,000 walk signs, neon walk signs. My dad passed away about 2 years ago, year and a half. And when he did, he was asked about, before he died, he was asked about making walks and don't walks. He broke down in tears and he said that he raised a family on walks. And pretty much he did. The one thing that I remember about my grandfather when I was bending walks and don't walks, he would always come by and criticize my work. Most often he would say that I wasn't gathering the glass enough. Well, gathering the glass is a process where you push slightly inward on the glass and it built up the thickness of the walls of the glass. But then after you built up the thickness of the walls of the glass, you had to heat the back of the bend so there wasn't too much residual glass in the inside of the bend, which would cause a strain and make it crack. So oftentimes we didn't gather the glass as much as my grandfather wanted us to. Anyways, that's the story. That's a little insight on how a neon chop in the 50s and 60s and 70s as when I started. That's the kind of work we did. There was, of course, a lot of other work, even artwork. But our mainstay at Alert Light Neon was walk and don't walk signs. Also, what I want to show you here, let me shut this off. What I want to show you is that in this walk sign, I'll just take it apart real quickly here for you. Just bear with me for a minute. Show you in here is just how tight of a fit this is. As you can see, there's a backer here that has cut out where the neon is inserted into. There was absolutely no room for any error. You had to be right on the money. So our work on Walk and Don't Walk, though it seems like a simple piece, it had to be strong. They wanted them really strong. The bends had to be really sharp, and they had to fit the pattern perfectly. Anyways, that's a little sample of speed bending. And I know it wasn't much, but I hope you got something out of it. Again, I'm Roxy Rose. This is the wonderful and amazing Lily Lakich, and I just owe her a ton of gratitude for helping me with everything, so much in my life. Thank you, Lily. Bye-bye.